What's trending in Jason's world?
So yesterday, I am in downtown Seattle, headed towards Belltown on foot. I was going out to pick up my dog from daycare. In case you didn't catch it, I adopted a dog last April. His name is D'Artagnan.
How's this never come up on this show?
I don't know why I haven't talked about it until now. But the bus driver, because I did not drive yesterday, so I took the bus down there. It's much easier when I'm picking up my dog in Belltown. The bus driver decided not to stop at the normal stop and went an extra block into downtown Seattle, closer to Pike Place Market on 3rd Avenue. And I get off the bus and I'm walking towards Belltown. And remember, I think it was like 2, maybe 3 years ago, after a series of shootings and homicides and just violent drug deals gone awry, the city of Seattle declared this particular area a no-go zone for bad guys. We're flooding the area with cops. It was kind of a scam because they didn't actually flood the area with cops. There was some extra policing there, but for the most part, it was just dummy vehicles that were out there. But it did have an effect of clearing out a lot of the homeless, and it was very bad. This is the worst I have ever seen it, including when they ended up basically closing it down. Now, I don't know if maybe this one afternoon it was especially bad yesterday, but it was bad. And so I'm walking to pick up the dog, and I'm taking notes as I'm going along. I'm discreetly taking some videos and photos like I normally do with the intention of writing something at some point this week for SeattleRed.com. And so I get to my dog's daycare. I'm waiting for him, and I swear I heard something. I don't know what it was, and maybe I'm making a big deal out of what I heard and it wasn't connected to what I found eventually happened. I just remember hearing something and not making anything of it. Get the dog. I'm going out. 5 feet out of the place, he starts to pee on a tree, which gives me the opportunity to observe my surroundings. And I immediately turned my attention to a man who was standing with a woman who was on her knees, grabbing his leg right above his ankle, screaming, "Stay with me! Stay with me!" And he seemed fine, certainly, from the ankle up. But then I looked down, and he was bleeding profusely. A lot of blood streaming down his leg towards his foot and his ankle and foot. And while she's holding on, presumably trying to apply pressure to the wound, I got a look as D'Artagnan was finishing his number one. I got a look at it, and it looked to me like a hole. It was either from a gunshot wound or a stabbing. And the thing is, I didn't think gunshot wound or stabbing. I just saw, well, there's a hole in that guy's leg. And she was clearly in distress. He's arguing with homeless people across the street in the little meth community. And so I decided to do something that only heroes do. Not offer aid. I didn't render aid because it's blood and I don't have any gloves on. I called 911. I reported what happened. And as I'm talking to the 911 operator, she realizes this is not a police emergency. So after asking me a couple questions, she ends up connecting with dispatch for fire EMT. She explains to that dude, and it's almost like you're eavesdropping when the two connect. They're talking to one another. And the guy who is answering for EMTs said, "Oh, yes, we've gotten calls for shots fired in the area. We're not sending anyone until cops arrive." Because there had been a shooting, as it turns out. This guy according to police, had some sort of argument with someone in the Belltown neighborhood, like a block away. Shots were fired. He ends up getting shot in the leg. He runs away or hobbles away. The shooter or shooters, don't know, end up fleeing, and there's no suspects as far as I can tell. But this guy had just been shot. And then it started to dawn on me, ooh, I could have been shot too. Or my dog could have been shot. I don't know where this guy was shot specifically. Again, it seemed like it was at least a block away. But then I recalled, because we do this for a living, oh yes, there was a shooting literally on this block on Friday. Dude got shot in the hand. We talked about it yesterday. And then a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, there was a shootout between a suspected drug dealer and a cop. All these things happened, all within just a short amount of time. We talked about 3rd and Blanchard many times because it is a hellhole, or to quote Donald Trump Jr., a crap hole. He is 100% correct. And this is happening every single day. It's out in the open. I gave you this stat a few weeks ago when we last talked about this area. I had gone out of 5 times, 4 of the 5 times, or 5 out of the 6 times, can't remember off the top of my head, I saw open air drug dealing. And I saw it that morning. I saw it yesterday afternoon on the way in. It's out in the open, and the city is saying, yeah, okay, we're tolerating this. And so every single time someone gets shot there, every single time there's a crime, understand that it's the mayor and the Seattle City Council that's saying, cool, we're okay with it. It's the new chief of police who is choosing not to put some more resources in this particular area, which desperately needs it. It's not the cops' fault, because believe me, if they can just go in and make arrests, they would do it in a heartbeat. But they're not able to. That's the unfortunate truth. They're not able to. And that is a city choice. And there are people, of course, you cut to any local television station that talked about this last night, they will get in front of someone who's either a neighbor, they work there, they're a business owner, whatever it is. Someone just waiting at the bus stop. And they say exactly the same thing over and over and over again, like this woman did to Cairo 7.
It's always been a little gritty, and I love that. But this is something that's been we are not being allowed to live and enjoy this historical neighborhood. I want problems to be fixed. And when you know there is a solution that is not being chosen, there are many things that can be done.
Indeed, except, and I'm not going to pick on her because I have no idea who she is. I don't know how she votes. But she's correct, obviously, in saying these are choices, and there are so many things that can be done, and they're very clearly not being done. And yet they vote for the same people over and over and again. And sometimes they make honest mistakes. For example, in this particular neighborhood, there is a council member who represents it by the name of Bob Kettle. Bob Kettle ran against an incumbent, Andrew Lewis, who was very soft on crime and very anti-police. Bob Kettle won because he said, I am not soft on crime and I'm not anti-police. And now he gets into power, and you know what he does? Pretty much nothing. You don't really hear Bob Kettle talking about anything, do you? Don't know if he even lives in the area. Did he leave? And is this another one of the abandoned positions? Maybe we missed it, because he's certainly not. He is an absent council member. Because if I were in charge of this particular neighborhood, I would be spending a whole lot of time pointing out the problems and asking for some solutions. And then if I had, it was in a position of power, I would actually implement the changes, the reforms. I'm a talk show host who lives kind of nearby this area. Not totally, but kind of. I'm on the good side of South Lake Union. But why is it that I'm talking about this more than Bob Kettle? Why is it that I'm talking about this more than Mayor Bruce Harrell? I was on our sister station, Cairo News Radio, with Jake and Spike, and we were talking about this story, and they just so happened to keep the text platform up on the computer that I was at, so I was able to see the people who were coming in, and some dude named Fernando sent in a text. And Fernando had some choice words for me, and it goes something along these lines. I drive 3rd Avenue in Seattle every single day. I have never seen any open-air drug use or any homeless people whatsoever. This is yet another MAGA exaggeration. If you don't like Belltown, you should move. Well, I don't live in Belltown, but thank you for your concern. As I said on air, that guy Fernando is lying. Now, I don't know what he's lying about. He's either lying about driving 3rd Avenue, and maybe has never even been on 3rd Avenue, or maybe the 3rd Avenue he drives in is nowhere near downtown Seattle or even in the city of Seattle. But he's either lying about driving on 3rd, or he's lying about what's going on there. But he's lying. And people in the text, all the leftists, the crazies, a lot more crazies listen over there than they do here. Thank God.
That's the dark side.
I'm totally okay with that, man. You can stay over there if you're. That's a crap you're going to send. But they're, oh, look at this MAGA whiner always complaining. Yes, you are correct. I am always complaining about crime that is a result of choices. Because unlike, I suppose, the leftists who don't like me, I don't think we should be creating victims every single day. I feel bad for the people who live there, who work there. I feel bad for the people who are victimized. And I'd prefer that we not have those people victimized. I know, crazy town we're living in. The reality is that when you make these kinds of choices, there are people who suffer. And maybe Fernando, who pretends to drive on 3rd and never happens to see anything that's happening 24/7 on 3rd, maybe he doesn't care. Okay, that's you. You go away. They get mad at the people who care, and they dismiss the people who care. They attack the people who care. If you're okay with this in your neighborhood, this is step back from Seattle. If this were happening in Bellevue, would the people put up with it? No, of course not. Which is why Bellevue looks the way Bellevue looks. That's the reality. That's the truth. There are so many places right now that, sure, you might have like one or two areas that aren't the best, but there are plenty of neighborhoods and communities and cities that are thriving, that are safe. You know what? I don't really hear a whole lot of Lake Stevens area. Do you hear anyone complaining about crime there? I'm sure they have some crime, of course, but you don't really hear Mill Creek. Do you ever hear about, man, there's just like 10 city blocks that's just a no-go zone, all that? No, because if it happened there, the people there would say enough is enough. Sometimes you hear enough is enough in Seattle, and yet they make the same exact political decisions. And so I don't know if they believe enough is enough, and I don't know if people actually truly are against what's going on. I just know we've got a ton of people who are becoming victims. It hurts our economy when downtown Seattle is in this shape, and we have a mayor who does not care. He does not care. Because by acknowledging a problem, you know what that means? You get blamed for it. And then you have to fix it. And so they seem to think, I just won't acknowledge a problem, so then I don't have to fix anything. And maybe that benefits individuals politically, depending on the circumstance. Maybe. Cool. I am in the camp that thinks that's completely immoral, refusing to acknowledge the problem so you don't have to take any of the blame or have any of the pressure on your shoulders to fix it. Call me nuts. Let's find out what else is trending.